All right, it is 9:56. There have been a few setups, but they all just have a ugly spread, so it's really unfortunate. I was looking at GTII for a trendline break, a reversal setup, especially after it broke this multi-range low and continued to downtrend for some time. But look at this. You see the ask? It went from 78 to 82, which is stupid. And then UTAG was a high day breakout. I wasn't looking at this one because I was looking at this one. And this one, I was interested in buying this one. I think I have a verified cancel. Yeah, I tried to buy 5,000 shares at 26 at 948. I was just a bit too slow. It didn't really allow me to get filled. But in theory, it was nice because a very large bidder showed up. And then the large seller at the ask was starting to get taken out. And I wasn't able to be a part of it. But this one did make a move towards the upside. And then CGRA, I was watching this for like a bull flag. I think I went over it yesterday. And yeah, it kind of broke the upper part of it, this 10.5 level. But as you can tell, it did it with a big, ugly green candle. So very hard to be filled, especially because, you're thinking about the setup at 10 cents and then it's at 11 very quickly. And that's a 10% move. You're like paying a 10% premium, or, you're being late and you're losing, that much profitability, or you're adding that much risk if it doesn't work out because it just has a big spike. So that's not really good. And that's why I really haven't traded anything. I'll make an update later. There just doesn't seem to be anything that's working, at least right now, but there were a few setups. I have no idea what I did to this chart right here, but yeah, just some big, ugly, widespread green candles, which is unfortunate. If it just seems like it's not my day, I do have a lot of other things I have to work on. But that's it for right now. Okay, it is 9:38 p.m. and I'm here to call it off. Overall, I didn't make anything. I didn't lose anything. There was that one attempted trade with PDPG that did work out. I just was not able to get filled. Way back here in the 26 range when it was looking like a dip under VWAP and maybe a move towards the upside. This thing, I was also looking for like a head and shoulders, like the shoulder, the head, and then it makes a dip and it makes a shoulder. But this was a little too weird. But in theory, that was a setup. And if I was super aggressive, maybe I could have actually been long this. But it didn't really uptrend as much as the first one right here. But it was still a setup. This one sold off. I was watching it in the afternoon when it was doing this drop, but I figured since it was already, I think 340, I didn't think it was going to necessarily bounce, and it didn't bounce in this case. It didn't do what ideally this thing could have been something saved for the morning so that it would have an entire day to, be a nice bounce setup. But that wasn't the case, and that's fine. I was also looking at the same thing here with head and shoulders, the shoulder, the head, and this one didn't really make a proper place to consider a dip buy and a shoulder to sell into. So that was the case with that. Nothing really interesting with this one. I think, yeah, it's kind of weird that it had this big blip right here. Kind of threw off the entire chart. Nothing with this one. Although it did have that nice move. Yeah, this one had a nice move in that the previous day high was 45, and we did open with a small gap up, but this was a nice morning spike, and yeah, nothing really with this one. This one was kind of weird. I was also looking at MMTLP, but this isn't something that I can trade on Fidelity. It was still nice to look at, and it didn't really offer a bounce besides this point right here. This seems like a really hard fought battle for, a not so big bounce considering how much, it is down in terms of the past 2 days, but it still offered something, and it did make a move above VWAP eventually. The only setup besides being smart with this trend line break right here for a slower morning panic bounce play, maybe like a buy after it does the dip and it comes back, and maybe it does one more dip towards the line like it did right here, and then maybe a buy right at 446. It would have been kind of hard to hold through this, but in theory, it did get to VWAP and slightly above it. This was a tricky setup. I never traded it, of course, but I can just see how hard it would have been to hold through that. It's not like it broke the day low for this setup towards that move towards VWAP, but still very iffy price action right there. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today. No setups, a lot of big, ugly green candles with a super duper widespread, which kept me out, and not interested in trading. Doesn't look like much anymore because it did continue to sell off here, but yeah, that was pretty much it. No trades. Tomorrow's gonna be the last day for the week.